Alright, so I'm going to be gone quite a bit, and I'm not going to be able to do monthly updates like I normally used to, which gave you a general sense of progression, how a year went for me, and how acquisitions in general went. And I namely did that so people could see that the amount of things that I have are accrued over time, and it's not just I blow a bunch of money all the time. It's a gradual process. So I wanted to, give you some insight into that and how far you can get, just being consistent. Well, due to my deployment schedule, I'm not going to be here to do that stuff. So my goal here right now is to show you where I'm going for the rest of the year, and then what 2018, 2019 will hold as well. First and foremost, I need to finish projects this year. And one of the things that's always been difficult for me to balance is getting things outfitted. What I've decided to do is balance acquisitions with project completions. So each year I complete 2 projects start to finish. That'll also slow down what guns I can buy, when I can buy them, and all this other stuff. This also includes both of my cars and buying a 4Runner at some point. Where I'm going this year is pretty simple. And I know some people are going to feel some sort of way about things, but I want to do what I want to do. First things first, these lowers. This one here is going to get turned into a M16A4 clone, I've decided. And I've been toying with the idea here and there, getting it knocked out and doing it on the cheap to get a really quality rifle set up simultaneously will be cool. And I started my career carrying an M16 for the first 3 years. So I've only had an M4 since then, and there are times I miss the M16, but by and large the M4 is better for what I do overall. But if you're gonna send me to go do some serious work, I either want an M27 or I want an M16. That's the idea behind this one. The other one that I'm building that is a lot further along than this one, I'm going to make an 18-inch, I've decided. Now I'm still going to make a rifle for my buddy. I'm going to use a different lower though. I don't think these are bad lowers, but the magazine well on the one that's going to be the 18-inch is a little tighter than this one, and they're from the same manufacturer. The lowers I'm going to buy from now on for my AR builds are going to be BCM. These are cool though. I like having the Carnicon lowers. There's not a whole lot of people that have them, and they're going to be fully functional rifles anyway. So this one's going to be an M16, and the other one is going to be a 18-inch AR. It's not going to be an SPR, it's just going to be an 18-inch. I already have a 16-inch in the HK, and I do plan on getting other rifles, which I'll get into in a second. Also, I need to finish this Beretta. This thing's been bothering me. I've got more parts to drop in it. I'm waiting to do the video and all that, but the grips and the magazine release, and then I'll send it off to Wilson Combat to get all the stuff done up and the refinishing and all that. So there's that. Now, before I move on, the M16 when it gets done is going to also have a Trijicon TA31 RCO and a Surefire M600 Scout with a Blue Force Gear sling. It's going to be a very simple setup. I'll have my usual stuff on it. It'll have a bad lever, and I might put a Geissele trigger in it. Big on the maybe though. I don't really like mil-spec triggers, but the other thing I've decided to do is use parts kits from BCM. So they have these $100 lower kits that I'm going to use exclusively, and if the mil-spec coated trigger that comes with that is not to my liking, then I'll swap it out. But my goal here is to get a M16 very close to standard that's with the Knights Armament rail and all that. And then, do a few little tweaks to it so it's my setup, what I would do, but it's also pretty close to correct. So that's my goal with that. So it'll be, I'll have the ACOG on it. It'll have a Surefire, pretty bright flashlight on it. Done deal. I don't know if I'm going to do the vertical foregrip or not, and I'm definitely not doing the Knights rail covers because I don't like them. They're too big. And for the R700 that has been on my back burner since I got it, I'm going to put it in an OD green Magpul chassis and a buy the magazine kit for it as well. So we'll get that done this year. And I plan on picking up an Atlas bipod for both that and the MR762. So at least get it that far, and then when I start purchasing glass for them, I'll do that. Last on projects, this rifle is probably, well, this rifle is set up. It's ready to do whatever I need it to do right now. I can take this out and do a lot of work with it. All that's left to do this rifle is I need to add a M600 Scout Surefire. I'm going to put the Trijicon 1-8 on here and move this 1-4 to something else. And I might put a Geissele trigger in this. Probably not, but we'll see. Now I had plans to get a D-ball for this, a D-ball A3. And I'm going to get 3 of them, which sounds ridiculous, and it is. It's very expensive. I'm going to do it over time. I want one rifle set up for nods, and then I want 2 others that are capable of being set up. This was on the table for that because it's so accurate that I could have a... My intent with this is a 5.56 Ricky rifle. I know it's a little heavy, but I was going to set it up to fulfill that role at any time of day. So I was going to have the light on it, the D-ball, and a nighttime optic. However, I really don't want this thing any heavier than it needs to be, and I have plans to get other rifles, which I'll list in a minute. This rifle is best suited for just putting a 1-8 on it, a flashlight, and keeping it relatively simple and not adding too much more expense. The Geissele trigger alone is damn near $500, probably $500 with shipping. The Trijicon 1-8 is about $1,400, and I'll need a mount for it. And then the M600, that's a $400 setup with a pressure switch. So this will be set up to do a lot of work. It just won't be set up for night vision stuff. And that's fine with me, honestly. This is still a serious use rifle. I know a lot of people relegate these to a novelty because they somehow magically aren't lethal and magically don't shoot because the barrel's not chrome lined. But there's that. I'm also finishing up the round count for this to do a review on it. I would like to get the Trijicon on there before that though, so that's probably the only thing holding me up. I'd like this thing fully outfitted so I can shoot it in its final form for the review. So there's that. As far as purchases goes, I now have, in my mind, I have every rifle and pistol magazine that I want to purchase, if that makes sense. What that means is I'm only buying copies of things I already have, or guns that survive off of the existing magazines I have in inventory. So like my Glock, for instance, I have a 34. I plan on adding another 34 and a 17, right? They all take 17 round Glock magazines. And for the Beretta, for instance, I'm only purchasing Beretta 18 round magazines, and I plan on only getting a 92G Wilson. So I'll just have 2 Berettas, and then SIG, Easy, only the 226. And a few other things. Annual purchase cycles for me are going to consist of 2 rifles and a few pistols per year. I'm trying to keep it set to 5 guns a year. That's going to be difficult. And realistically, some of these are way more expensive than others. And short term, I want to round out my VP9s this year. So I'll be doing the M16 build and purchasing another one of these from a buddy. So I have those 2 rifles set, and for the handguns I want to buy a VP9 OD Green, a VP9 FDE, a VP9 SK, and a VP9 Tactical, though I think I'm pushing that to 2018. So right now 3 handguns and 2 rifles to round out the year, then I'm done. Coupled with working on buying an engagement ring and modding my cars, this stuff isn't cheap. So I have to pace everything. And for those of you that don't know, I've told a few people, but I've already purchased the VP9 SK, but it was a birthday / graduation present for my girlfriend. It actually worked for me because I got to play with it a little bit anyway, and I actually really like it, so I am excited to get my own, and I'll be going through the usual suspects to get that. My goal with the other, I plan on 3 of these total. I'm good with pairs, but I want an SBR one, and I want to do a build just like Colion Noir, so I can find an upper. I'd much prefer a 416 upper, even though it's a bazillion dollars, because I don't like when you chop something down, it loses something. So it's not going to be as accurate as a 10.4 or 10.5 in my mind anyway. That said, I'm going to run this one loud, and the CR556 I'm going to run suppressed, and it's going to be set up identically to this rifle. Bad lever, Geisley rail, Trijicon 1-8. And I can hear everybody like, why even bother? Because you'll have one already, blah, blah, blah. That's the whole point. I want something that's the same setup. The only difference is the suppressor that will live on that gun. Same thing. Also be different here, I get that. But for all intents and purposes, same rifle. I'm also going to put the buttstock that's on this one on the CR just to keep it the same. Plus I really like that buttstock. Now I really need to buy a lot of gear. So my tax return is already set aside for X300Us and whatever money's left over from my fund money for a couple months, purchasing M600s for my rifles. So this is, I gotta schedule everything, and I gotta stay really tight with my purchases. The reason I'm buying so many handguns this year is because they're all VP9s and they're getting like bottom cheap for brand new ones. So that's pretty important to me. I'm gonna push finishing the R700 and the 18-inch DI build, as well as purchasing a SCAR. So next year I'll not be buying a lot of handguns, and it's gonna be, my handgun purchases are going to be based off after this year. After I close out the VP9s, it's going to be based on rarity and whatever's cheapest. So if I see like a gray frame USP 45 or an OD green USP 45, I'm obviously going to secure that because those are going to get more rare, and then worry about, you know, the other stuff like the copies of the P30 I want to get, or a Glock 17 or whatever. You know, but if money dictates that, hey, I've only got so much that I can play with, then I'll get whatever's available or whatever piece of gear. So it's kind of nice to be where I'm at right now. I have a lot of my bases covered. I just need to outfit everything. And in a way, you can piece stuff together over time to outfit it, and it actually happens relatively quickly, which is nice. This optic is just barely getting me by. I'm learning to work with 4-power a lot more, but I also decided that I like finer adjustment, so this might be getting sold when I'm done with it too. I don't know. But we'll see. I don't know. But my whole goal here is balancing everything for moderation and making sure I cover my bases. So optics, lights, suppressors, guns, and just continue to let my magazines grow and stuff like that. Just basic, easy stuff, piece stuff together, still have fun doing projects, but also, you know, getting new things simultaneously that support the stuff I have. And it's really nice to be able to have stuff that's outfitted. Like you grab it and it's completely set up, and you could just, all you have to worry about is cleaning it, shooting it, feeding it, cleaning it over and over again. Like you just take it out, you run it, you hit your targets, bring it home, clean it, put it back up. That's a great feeling to have, and that's what I'm looking to do. So I'm still going to be doing stuff, still going to be buying things, looking into new things, and more 5.56 guns. I do have to pick up some SCAR 17s, and I've chopped a lot of stuff off my list, which is, it's kind of liberating because I don't have to worry about all this, you know, I got to stock this, I got to stock that. It's just keeping it relatively simple while having enough diversity so I can cover all the bases and have fun at the same time. It's kind of cool. So that's what I'm focused on. You'll see the rest of it when I get an opportunity, and some of these videos, instead of doing like a series, it might be like putting all this shit together in one video, you know, because that's how much time I have nowadays. But we'll see how everything shakes out. It'll be a lot easier after deployment. I'll have a lot more downtime. Won't have to worry about going out. You know, I'll still be working a lot, but we won't be going underway because we'll be in the yards. So when I get back, it'll be a lot easier, a lot more predictable, and we'll go from there. But in any case, thanks for watching. Take care of each other, stay safe, and support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America.